You know what I think, Shorty? I think this is going to be a very dumb idea. What do you think? You're shaking like a chihuahua. You are not a chihuahua. You are a powerful... Never mind. Well, again, I know this is like putting me on the third story floor, but you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Yeah. This was also a bad idea. She doesn't like being this high. She's never been this tall, of course. But, you know, I got you. I got you. Oh, now you like it. Now you're puffing out your chest, huh? A rose by any other name is just as sweet. I understand that starting off my thesis statement with Shakespeare is going to be a little bit weird. That might not make sense to the majority of people, but allow me to explain what I mean. Thinking about how to talk about waifu cards, you know, cards that have scantily clad, attractive, busty women on the artwork, I thought about a hypothetical where you could be talking to someone. Let's say you're talking to a coworker, and they say, "This used to be my waifu." Android 18, for example. A lot of us share that, and if you do, you're a man of culture. But let's say you used to have Android 18 as your waifu. You just, whenever you saw her, it made you feel different ways, right? Now, and not in a goony fashion, as some people would want to, you know, have you believe that most of us do. Not really. But you were attracted to her as a character. And you thought Krillin was the luckiest man alive. Okay, take that and change it a little bit to say, you know, when I was growing up, I used to have a crush on Android 18. For some reason, both of those statements are implying the same thing. They have, to a certain extent, the same meaning. But they're perceived in a different way, right? When you use a certain word, when you say waifu, which is just a short form of saying attraction towards, or someone who just, you know, tickles your fancy in a certain way, again, not in a goony fashion, we'll get to that. I mean, it's just, now it has a very derogatory meaning to it, because if you use that word, you're obviously seen as a weeaboo, as a freak, as someone who doesn't necessarily respect boundaries, or even women, if you want to go that far. But thinking more and more about it, I can't help but wonder how ridiculous the counter arguments are when it comes to something like waifus. Now, let me just establish a couple of ground rules. The first one is, you know, for me at least, when I use waifu cards, never in front of children. I think that makes sense as a rule, right? If you're going to use that kind of stuff, make sure to use it in appropriate ways. And the second rule is always ask. You're with your pot, you sit down, and, you know, you say, "Hey, I got a waifu card here, can I use it?" Most of the time, if not all of the time, for me it's been most of the time, of the dozens of games I've played, only twice I've been told no. I'll explain why later. But you know, it's not that serious. It really isn't. And before going any further, I want to show and demonstrate the kind of waifus that I have. I will show this to you right now. Now, of course, bear with me. This is a content warning. This might be a little too super ethereal, right? And I know that certain Brit for brains out there are going to have a certain adverse reaction to this, which will be something akin to
penis.
You know, and if that's you, goddamn, I don't know what to tell you. You need help if that's how you react, right? Especially, you know. But anyways, let's just cut to the chase. Let me show you the horrors of the waifu cards that I have in my collection. Now, and you know what? Let me just, here we go. I don't know if you can see. This is actually one of the ones that was rejected. I'll explain why in a bit. I don't know if you can read it, but we'll get there. So, as long as you're following these two rules, I think there's not really a problem when it comes to using waifu cards, when it comes to using cards with sexually attractive women in scantily clad outfits, perhaps, that you enjoy seeing. There's not a problem with that, because again, a lot of the fantastical comparisons and associations and even scenarios that Brit for Brains explains don't actually happen. The way that he describes it would make you think that everyone who has a waifu card is automatically a gooner, which I don't know if people know what that actually means. You know, someone who is willing to get themselves to climax in public at the expense and without any regard of other people, right? That's what that means. It's not that you enjoy seeing sexy women around. It's just that you're a freak about it, and how you react to it is not necessarily a problem with the card. It's a problem with you. You can be a gooner that's never had waifu cards. I'm sure there are plenty of those little freaks out there who in fact don't have waifu cards, but they might actually be edging quite a bit, right? That has nothing to do with the imagery. It has to do with the person. But I guess for people who would use any of these labels and accusations, that's not the case. Let's go on to the other false, the falsity that's presented as absolute when it comes to this video. And that is that absolutely everything that is a waifu card is more often than not XXX rated smut. None of this can be considered XXX rated. There's no nudity in these cards. And I know, again, that certain people are going to have an adverse reaction to it because of their constitutions and their mentality. You know, who am I to judge? But none of this is nudity. Are there people out there who have nudity on cards? Absolutely. But again, that's not a problem with the concept of waifu alters. It's a problem with the person. More so if they decide to use that in front of people who don't want to see it. That has nothing to do with the fact that you paid someone to make these kinds of cards. It has everything to do with the fact that you just don't know how to act in public, which takes many forms, and we'll get to that. But I mean, I don't know. I'm an old-fashioned guy insofar as I'm not young anymore. I've made my bones in this world, and I have had this following poster I'm about to show you. Again, content warning. I know how people will react, and moreover, the labels I will get for showing you this, but I've had this poster for over 18 years. And not a single time have I ever been led astray, if you will. I'm not sure how to word it to not make it sound weird, but it's never been something that has impulsed me to act inappropriately, if you catch my drift. Let me show it to you. I know Brit for Brain, I mean, he's already passed out on the floor. If he's watching anything of this video, he's already he needs CPR. Someone help him. He needs some milk. This is what I've had as a poster for 18 years. If you look at this and automatically find it appropriate to have a judgment placed on me, if you're going to judge my character and the kind of person that I am, just by my possession of this, that's your prerogative. You know, more power to you. I'm sure that you're a very fun person to be around. But I would also recommend you get your head out of your ass. I really don't like the fact that nowadays it is criminalized for a man to be attracted to this is an attractive woman, objectively attractive. It's not wrong if a person with the appropriate age, of course. I would never put this in a kid's room. And even then, I mean, you know, okay, kids have seen worse than this on TikTok. Let's not rub any nuts about this. Let's not fucking lie. Kids have seen worse than this on TikTok, but I don't agree with that, so I wouldn't put this in a kid's room, right? But you're not a bad guy if you're a 15-year-old and you have this poster in your room. What's so wrong about that? Yet, you can have a bunch of other representations in the media about, for example, men. Now, one of the ones that is just amazingly hypocritical, because you will have Brit for Brains saying that this is male gay shit. He was channeling his inner Frosk. You know, the woman who said this,
Women do not exist to be nice on the eyes for you. Morgan Webb, Olivia Munn did not exist to be nice on the eyes for you.
No one ever said they existed for that. You did, but okay, you know, jealousy is jealousy. It takes many forms. And while you have people who talk about the male gaze and who claim such things, you also have this in a mainstream Marvel movie. What? Really? But I mean, hypocrisies like that have been pointed out for years, and still nothing has changed. Nonetheless, let's get back on topic. So, Brick for Brains over here, apart from his two, I don't even know what to call them. They're not equivocations. Well, some of them are, but he's trying to establish a falsity of the reality that waifu guys are gooners and they all have porn, and automatically they are to be labeled all of this, right? Let's talk about the three anecdotes that he mentioned. In one of them, he said that it was just a bunch of lands with anime tits on it. None of them exposed, just in bikinis, which, I mean, the examples he gave, first of all, that's shitty art. But second of all, really? This to you was offensive? I know your constitution. I know the kind of man that you are based on how you're reacting, but this was enough for you to get upset about? Jesus Christ. Second anecdote, he said that there was a card, another land, with anime boobs, and it was just too distracting for him. Ugh. He couldn't concentrate. My guy, I hope you never went to Hooters in your life. I know you've been to the US, and I hope you never went, though then again, because you are an absolute pillar of virtue and you would never engage in male gaze stuff, I don't think you ever went. But if you did go, I'm sure you would have had a conniption. You would have had just the biggest aneurysm on the planet. People would have had to carry you out on a stretcher. Because that's a pretty distracting place. If you're incapable of controlling yourself while watching drawn tits on cardboard, I don't know what to do for you. There is no hope, my guy, none whatsoever. I've been to a beach, I've been to a goddamn Hooters, I've been to a strip club. And not a single time have I ever had a problem keeping my thoughts organized. Goddamn, dude. But this is just him. I'm sure other guys are not like this. I'm sure other guys actually have all this just alpha male energy that they're able to exude and make the world a better place. Let me show you a small comment that was posted on a guy's thread where he said, well, they don't let me take my waifu mat anymore, so I'm just going to take this MTG Angel artwork, right? And the guy posted this comment. Let's read it together. It says, I'll tell you exactly how I took care of that anime girl garbage for my tournaments. Oh, he organizes tournaments. You know he is double alpha for that. Just the guy, I want to be this guy when I grow up. I told the kid straight up, so probably a teenager, but you know, you can call him a kid. You're better than that. One day you'll see it. You'll understand it, and that mat will be a thing of the past. It was gone next week. You missed a the in that. You was gone the next week. I know Josh is a very studied and educated man, but he can't English very well. He does grammar very good, right? Now, what I suspect happened, and if that kid sees this video, I don't know if you will, but props to you for being the bigger man, because this is probably what that kid was thinking when Josh and his infinite wisdom came up to him and said, excuse me, this mat isn't appropriate for the tournament. This is probably what the kid said. Okay, Josh. He went home. Week passes. He's about to go to the tournament again. Another tournament, maybe. And he says, I don't really want to deal with that asshole, so I'm just not going to take it. My man, you were more mature than this man was. Now, of course, I understand tournaments and LGSs have etiquette about them. Specifically, the more famous points to be proven here, or to be pointed out, is a smell, and the waifu mats and sleeves and cards and stuff. And of course, again, Brit for Brains try to make it just the universal Yu-Gi-Oh problem, which, I've seen it all. If it's just with adults, who gives a shit? I can't stop saying that. Stop pretending like there are kids all over the place in your LGS, especially at the time that I go, 8 p.m. and I leave at 10. What kind of goddamn responsible adult is leaving their kids out there that late at night? But that's just me. I digress. So, this kid just thought, hey, I'm not going to use the man anymore. I don't want to deal with this self-serving asshole. I don't want to deal with his, his such amazing ethics, because he is an absolute ally, and he has a brownie points counter above his head. That makes him doubly good in front of other women, right? I mean, I don't know if the guy's married. I don't give a shit, but I can only imagine how much of a smug cunt he must have been when he was telling this kid this. Again, a kid who was more mature about it than he was. Ironically enough, he was the bigger man at 15, 16, 17, I don't know. And by the way, if he wasn't a teenager and you're calling him kid, if he was in his early 20s and you're saying that, you're kind of a weirdo. But anyways, and another thing, I know I dropped cunt out there to address this alpha male, but if you're gonna come at me for that, being such a class act, understand that Brit for Brains over here in his video referenced a disgusting internet video and described it as gaping rectum. I'm not going to use a word, right? I know I dropped the C-bomb, but even I have standards. And this was within the first minute and a half of the video, in a video that you can see without logging in, which means it's not age restricted, which means kids can watch it. Class act, Vince. You are the pillar of the community. More people should strive to be like you. Anyways, so the third anecdote that Brit for Brains talked about, which really just infuriated me, and I don't know if a lot of people saw it. It's actually near the end of the video. I think it's within the last 2 minutes. Last 2 minutes, maybe last minute and a half. But he talks about a guy who is just the absolute worst and needs to be flogged. He talked about the guy that showed him the deck. And he just said, well, they were anime girls, and some of it was kind of spicy, and he asked me if he could use it, and I was like shaking my head like, I guess, but can you use another deck and not be weird about it? Vince, the guy played by the rules. He showed you the deck. You admitted it was just anime girls. And some of it was a little spicy. You try to pretend like there were 50,000 kids around about to watch the game, and you made him seem like the asshole because he was being weird about it? He asked you if you minded, and you decided to be such a sniveling bitch about the whole thing. No, Vince, you're the asshole in this. You fucked up because he followed the rules. Right? And all the times that I think I mentioned this already, and all the times that I've used waifu cards, I've only been rejected twice. The first one was this one. Corvold, Fate, Cursed King. Very dark, you can't even see the artwork, so I'm not sure if it was the artwork, because there were no kids around, as much as you want to pretend like they're all over the place. I don't know if it was the artwork or if it was the card. The other one, it's right here, was Chulane. I don't know if it was the artwork or if it was the fact that it was Chulane. Because people don't like playing against Chulane. Chulane is a pretty toxic card, but I wanted to use it. They said no. I said no problem. I'll just use Miss Bumbleflower. This is my peace offering Bloomberg. And I wanted to try Chulane out with it. It's banned. Why the hell not? But they didn't want it. So what adults do in that case, Vince, if they're told no, which you sneakily didn't do, you sniveling bitch. But if you would have told him no, you know what I'm pretty sure the guy would have done? He would have said, okay, I'll use another deck. But you made it out to be like the guy was such an asshole. No, Vince, you're the asshole. You were so fucking weak that you couldn't just say, you know what? No, I don't want you to use that deck. And with these arguments and these labels and these accusations that people try to say, I also remember one time, before my Facebook got deleted, it got deleted, mind you, because I told people who celebrated the tragedy on September 10th that they were disgusting freaks, and my account got terminated. People celebrating that still have their accounts up. I got deleted because I told them they're disgusting freaks. Irony abounds. But nonetheless, in one of those comment threads, which I, have participated in every now and then, you had a guy saying, oh, well, they didn't tell you, women specifically, because I told them I played with 4 different women in my LGS many, many times. He said, oh, well, they didn't say no to you because they were afraid how you were going to act. How I was going to, what the hell are you talking about? What, was I going to smack them upside the head and say, how dare you, wench? I shall use whatever the hell I want. What? Awesome deflection, but that's not how life works. And I'm guessing maybe another thing. He specifically mentioned women, but let's say you think, oh, none of the guys you ever played with tell you no because they don't want to ruin everyone's night by not having you play. The 2 times I was told no, I had a different commander to use. I'm not the kind of person to just take the ball home because I get upset with a certain person's response or reaction to my cards. Again, I'm seasoned. I've made my bones in this world. I understand how life works. I'm not a petulant child, right? Unless it's a deck, and none of my decks have this problem, but unless it's a deck that cannot function without that commander, then I'm not going to stop playing. I will continue to play. Just use a different goddamn commander. That's it. But these people want to make these guys, they want to make people like me the assholes. People who, regardless of how reasonable we may be when it comes to using waifus, they're always going to find a way to make us look like the assholes. Let me point out a situation that I've actually seen, and it was just embarrassing the whole thing through, right? We're at a restaurant, me and my coworkers, right? We're celebrating a big conclusion to a project that just, I'm not even going to bore you with that. But anyways, we're sitting at the restaurant. 2 tables over is a big crowd of people, 3 couples, 3 men, 3 women, and next to them was another guy who was sitting alone, eating alone, minding his own business, or so we thought. About 10 minutes in, because they're laughing and giggling and all this stuff, talking about stuff like we are, but we couldn't hear anything that they were saying, right? Not at all. I mean, they were being fairly discreet. Laughing, sure, being boisterous, but we didn't know what they were talking about. 10 minutes in, the guy gets up, and I'm not kidding. He says, "Why are you speaking that way in front of women?" So now we have to turn our attention to this guy. And one of the women there says, "What the hell is your problem? Why are you talking to us?" Apparently, what group of 6 consenting adults, what was happening there was that the guys were using very profane language in front of the women. We couldn't hear it 2 tables away. This guy was in a table next to them and he heard it and apparently felt the need to stand up and face the patriarchy for these women. How dare they not be virtuous and righteous like him? Personally, I would never use foul language in front of other women. Mixed company is a thing. I don't like it. But I would never pretend to be so superior, so wonderful, so amazing, so righteous that I would shame people for doing it. And again, from what we could hear before this entire scene broke out, the women were laughing. For all we know, they were participating in it. They might have had worse sailor mounts than the guys did. But you know who the guy called out? Only the guys. Again, if you're in that kind of culture, women are also going to be pretty foul-mouthed. It's okay, it's perfectly fine. I don't necessarily like it, but however you want to live your life, it's your problem. Nothing to do with me, which is the right fucking reaction to give. But this asshole feels a need to butt into a situation that he's not even involved in to try and pretend he's better than everyone. Why? Why? Imagine you having that happen to a conversation you're having. Would you not be pissed off? And it's never happened to me as far as the waifu cards or the playmats. I do have a couple of playmats. They're not bad. It's just I know for a fact that certain people are going to have a conniption when they see them. I've never had someone butt in and just like try to pretend that they were so virtuous and wonderful and amazing, and I don't even deserve to be in their presence when they're not even involved in the game, right? Now, to wrap this up and to go back to the original deflective point, where, oh, what if kids see it? Get the fuck out of here. Anyways, one time we usually play at the back of the store to leave the most trafficked part of the store with the products and the cards and the sleeves and the plushies and all that shit, to leave it open so that we're not blocking anything. One day we go in there and it was 4 or 5 in the afternoon. We have to play in the middle of the store because they're renovating back there, right? A couple of kids walk in, and you might be surprised by my quick thinking and what I did to avoid them from seeing the card. They weren't going to be able to see the table right away. They weren't even paying attention to us, but I did this. Ready? I don't know how I came up with this. It was an amazing, just thinking on my feet moment. Now, in case you don't believe me, my hands are big enough to cover the card. It wasn't that big of a deal. And what I did when I covered the card, I had to ask a very serious question because I don't know how long they were going to be there or if they were going to start to look at the game state, as kids do. Again, it's not usually what happens, but it is bound to happen. So I had to just sit there like, guys, do I surrender or can I substitute my commander? And as the reasonable adults that they are, which is usually who I play with, they said, just substitute it. I said, okay, so I put the other card in my pocket, broke out another one, and put it there. And not in a single moment did any of the kids walk over to the table to look at the game. But out of my consideration, out of my own just understanding of the situation, I thought it would be prudent to either take the card off and replace it, or just to give up. And not a problem, just get another game. But they didn't give a shit. It's not hard to act proper, right? It just isn't. And before you tell me that acting proper is not even having this kind of imagery, then all I gotta say is go fuck yourself. I've paid my taxes for over 15 years. I've made my bones in this world. I've done a lot of shit, and I've dealt with so much terrible stuff that when I go to a game store, I want to be able to say, you know what? We're all reasonable adults here. I want to look at a sexy card. Can I do that? And more often than not, they say yes. And mind you, to illustrate the point with the girls, the ladies, the wonderful, amazing women we played with, because they are just fabulous. One of them is with her husband. It's a tag team, and we can never beat them. They always manage to kick our ass. I don't know how they do it. But there have been a total of 14 games. I have to write them down. 14 games with these 4 different women in which I've used waifu cards. And let me show you the reaction that they have every time I've shown them one of the waifu cards. Ready? Cool. That's the reaction. I don't know if they're aliens. I don't know if they're just exceptions to the rule. I don't know if maybe I'm just the luckiest motherfucker on the planet. Or I don't know if maybe they just don't want me to hurt them. Because apparently, according to some people, that's what I would do if they told me no? If that seems like a fair argument for some people to use, I don't know if this is up there for the warmth. You gotta really unclench and get it out. I don't know. And it boils down to another thing with the hypocrisy behind this entire thing. Because you can have certain cards, you know which ones I'm talking about, that are also questionable and I wouldn't want kids to see. But if you criticize those cards, you're labeled a different way, aren't you? Now you're labeled as an istaphobe of some kind. Now you're a bigot. Now you're a terrible person just because, you're terrible and you don't want them to express themselves and you want to... No. And if a woman came into the game store, one of the ladies I'm talking about, and she had trunks from Dragon Ball Z, because I don't know why, women love trunks, but if she had trunks with a shirt off, with, I don't know, some tight boxers, at the beach, whatever, go for it. I don't give a shit. I really don't. I think that's the right attitude to have. Live and let live only go so far until some people decide to be offended about it. which is more and more what we see. Again, you can have Thor's ass on the screen, but God forbid you try to have some attractive woman just in, I don't know, this. You remember the conniption that people had over this? You would have thought that that was the end of society as you know it. It would have been the downfall of civilization. And things have only gotten more sanitized in some spaces, and yet people are still complaining. I don't know how far people want this to go. I really don't. But that's just the old man in me talking. Guys, I really want to know, what do you think? Am I just the asshole here? I know I've said a couple of curse words and I dropped the C-bomb, but, it's just, I don't understand. I don't understand a lot of it. I hope that this can actually have some, and you know what? I have had some people who honestly, in these arguments, will say, I don't agree with it. I don't understand it. But play with whatever you want. I think that's the right attitude to have. Not virtue signaling, not pretending to be morally superior, and not acting as though if you do have these that you are a terrible person. The majority of virtue signaling dipshits like Josh over here, are probably fucking assholes. I don't know how many people like to play with Josh, but I'm pretty sure the number is a lot smaller than the people who want to play with the kid that he chastised. Anyways, that's it, guys. I'm going to stop rambling here. I hope you have a wonderful day. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hopefully you don't light a torch under my ass and burn me at the stake, but I don't know. The way the world is, I'm not sure. Anyways, guys, have a good one, and I'll see you later. Okay, I got you. You're good. You're good, shorty. You're good.